Yeah, they're finding out. I'll tell you that.
All of this makes me so sad. It makes me sad because, like, these guys weren't doing anything. So what kind of protest is valid in Asmon's eyes? Because he thinks that this is a fuck around and find out situation, but they didn't even fuck around. If your intent is good, if your actions are good, if you are advocating for the right things, you know, I don't really care. I don't really care about the hypocrisy. And I don't think many people care either. That's precisely the reason why hypocrisy fishing, with the exception of leftist purity spirals, doesn't really exist in the right-wing world at all. Like you rarely, with the exception of like the Steven Crowder drama with Candace Owens and then the Steven Crowder drama with Ben Shapiro, you rarely ever, his chat is so vile to you and your community too during the whole event coverage. Yeah, I don't know why, what has happened with Asmongold. He has taken like very brave stances in the past, despite scrutiny. So I don't know what he had to say about these protests, but a lot of people are very upset about what he has to say about these protests. He's always been this way. No, it doesn't matter. I think for me, Asmongold will have 10 takes total. Okay. 6 of those takes are going to be exactly what you expect. Okay. 6 of those takes are going to be exactly what you expect. Right. 2 of those takes are going to be kind of like mealy mouth, like centrist stuff, maybe a little Fence City. And then randomly 2 of those takes at the end are going to be unimaginably based. And you're like, what? Where? Who? Why did he say those 2 things? And I care a lot about those 2 things. Why? Because a guy that looks like that, a guy that speaks to an entire community of dudes who've been playing WoW for 40 years at this point, god damn it. Very important to have those 2 base takes. So lately, I don't know. I feel like the last 2 base takes are gone. And it's just all now, all 10 of the takes are on the same spectrum. There are leftists shitting on protesters who are being photographed while being arrested, calling them conceited and engaging in vanity projects, law absolutely unhinged. Twitter. Yeah. The problem with these kinds of things is that like the more you go down the anti-woke pipeline, and I don't know if it's like genuine or if it's maybe a little bit motivated by your own subreddit, motivated by the reaction that the crowd is giving, which is ironic because a lot of people say that to me as well. They'll say like, I am victim or kidnapped by my own chat. Like, that's why I constantly take the positions that I take. I must not believe them personally. And it's funny because I yell at my community quite a bit. And because I yell at my community quite a bit, especially when they do like weird rad lib that I find to be wrecker behavior, for example, I yell at my community all the time. I yell at them relentlessly when they engage in stuff, right? So I don't think I am audience captured at all in that regard. But my point is, sometimes you find yourself taking stances that you may not have taken a year ago or even a couple months ago, because you're like, you get the warmness of like being in a community that's like advocating on your side unconditionally, fighting your battles. Asmongold's recent spree of I'm being canceled law. Yeah, I just like, I don't know. I think cancel culture is ridiculous. I've been quote unquote canceled a million times over. His chat called whoever was with the students a Hassan freak. It was a shithole. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's sad to see, especially because like I don't think Gamergate 2 is like real, you know what I mean? I think it's just mostly just like a couple content creators trying to desperately do this thing and desperately like tack on anything they can. And here's why I know it's not real, you know what I mean? Because every goddamn week all of these Gamergate 2 guys, and I'm not even talking about Asmon, I'm talking about the dudes that he watches and stuff, right? A lot of these Gamergate 2.0 guys are from Gamergate 1.0, right? And they will look at like whatever the new thing is and immediately go, it's woke and gay and I hate it. Wokeness ruined it. It sucks. And then the actual video, like the actual content will come out, like the video game will come out, or Fallout, the TV show, will come out. And everyone's like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is amazing. So some of those guys that originally made the videos about how shitty Fallout was will then inevitably either double down or turn around and basically state that, you know, it's actually good. The Fallout thing is good because it's anti-woke. You see it a lot. You see it with the neck-bearded losers like Quarter Chicken Pounder and stuff. You know what I mean? Like they always do that. Well, they'll turn around and be like, oh, it's popular because it's actually anti-woke. Here's why. And basically it's just grifting, you know? Real Gooner Gate is Hasan wearing a sleeve shirt today. Yeah, I wanted to pull a Stellar Blade devs on you, mother. Actually hide the goddamn guns today. Okay? I thought I was watching Zionist Direct when I read his chat and listened to his takes. Same as this, you feel like the same group of people. Yeah, I don't know where a lot of this stuff's coming from, but I guess like maybe normies feel this way. We'll see. I mean, it's entirely dependent. If Charlie Moist Critical comes out and like finally does a Palestine video and he's like, yeah, these students, they around and found out, then I'll assume like that the normie meter that I thought I had was off, and that like a lot of the normies are actually very reactionary towards the towards these protesters, you know? But I doubt XQC is unconditionally shitting on the protesters, considering that there's some juicers in there. There's these little juicers are in the encampment. They're getting their little asses beat too. I think for a lot of people, I think the way I see it is like if you rely on your Reddit a lot as a vector or as a means of communicating with your audience, and I think Asmongold does, he has a very active Reddit. XQC used to have a more active Reddit, but I don't think his Reddit is as active now. A lot of Reddit is AstroTurf to oblivion, where like you hear some of the most unhinged right-wing takes as it pertains to like world news, you know? And I think that it does have the capacity to kind of change the vibes of an overall community. But yeah, I don't think that it's so cringe an online brand that Asman fans associate being pro-Palestine with you. It's just embarrassing. They're negatively polarized from an entire political moral cause because of one Twitch streamer they think is soy or something. Yeah, that's the pretty funny part, is that they think I'm soy. But yeah, I don't know. I have only one thing to ask you, Hasan. Read his chat when you've seen the clips.
It's like us antagonizing the cops. Yeah, it's like it's a good thing that the cops took an L on that. Like, I mean, the cops didn't have to take an L on anything because they could shoot the protesters, but they don't do that, so.
That's crazy. That's crazy. It's also like positively not Texas to just have this attitude, you know what I mean? I thought Texans don't call 911, you know? Hasan viewer. I mean, they probably aren't wrong. Israel could nuke Gaza, but they don't. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff is just like might is right politics, you know? That's where it stems from. You just got to do everything you can to explain to people that that is not how these things work, right? I called him out and he didn't really go in on me, considering he can't say I got radicalized by you when I'm literally Palestinian. Also, thanks for the raid. Proud of those students. Yeah, Capri Sun Poppy. I don't know. For me, I feel like it's pretty up to cheer on, I feel like unconditionally. Like, and I said this on January 6th as well, so you guys even can't catch me on this shit. Like, when January 6th was happening, I was shocked at the lack of police response, because that was like definitely a valid moment, because you had right-wing psychopaths like actually storming the Capitol, right? Like, you had right-wing psychopaths like breaking in to a government building while there is literally a congressional proceeding occurring there, with a deliberate attempt to like openly kidnap politicians and stuff, right? Like, in that situation, that does warrant a police response. It's like one of the few instances where like hopefully there isn't like too much police violence, right? But that does warrant a police response. I don't think the UCLA peaceful encampments warrant a police response at all. And if anything, not last night, but the night prior, the counter protesters warranted a police response, and cops actually didn't do shit. They basically waited for an hour and 30 minutes for the counter protesters, who aren't even students, to like literally try and blow up the encampments. And we watched it happen, and they did too. And then the university turned around and used that chaos, that lack of interest in protecting their own students, as a reason to why more violence must occur on these peaceful encampments. Now, violence in the hands of the state. How is that any different? To me, I feel like it's very obvious what's going on here, and I don't think that police reaction of this sort is ever warranted unless there's like literally a hostage situation going on, you know what I mean? And even in that circumstance, like, you probably shouldn't do this either, right? I personally think that it is vile. And also, I can make an argument specifically on the boundaries of like right-wing Americans, on the boundaries that they could understand as well. The argument is pretty clear. The Los Angeles Police Department wastes approximately $3 to $8 million every single day. That's their operational budget. A lot of that money gets brought out to play in overtime in situations like the one that you saw. Every dime that they spend cracking students' skulls and violently arresting them for the crime of saying, I don't really like what Israel's doing, right? Every single dime could be spent on fixing potholes, could be spent on training these goddamn pieces of so they actually do detective work, because they don't really solve crimes at all. That's the other aspect of this. Many of you that live in big cities know how little the cops give a single shit about actual theft, okay? Remember when Myth had to steal his car back because the cops won't do anything? Yeah, I mean, it literally, that happened. That happened to friend of the show, Mythological. Yeah, friend of the show, Mythological, had his car stolen from outside his house. Called the cops. Cops were like, you're on your own, big dog. Luckily, he was able to find it. Told the cops he found it and that he was actually retrieving it himself so that they take it off the stolen list. Ludwig had to do the same thing. So cops don't do their jobs. They're overpaid. They're lazy as shit. They're such entitled assholes for the most part. And then beyond that, their budgets are ever expanding. And those budgets are actually taken away from shit that I like personally. You know, I want to be able to drive my car on a road that doesn't have potholes that are going to eat the tire. Okay? Sorry. I feel like it's kind of up. I pay European level taxes in this goddamn state, in this goddamn country. What do I have to show for it? No healthcare. Not that I need it personally. Luckily, I'm very fortunate, right? But like, I want others to be able to have it. Public education is dog. Roads are ass. Cops don't do their jobs, and they are the most expansive part of the budget. I'm just basically paying money so that we can create baby murder weapons and ship it off to Israel, $26 billion at a time. And then if I turn around and say, hey, I don't like that, actually, what the fuck are we doing here? Hold on. We got to put an end to this nonsense, right? Let's get a little bit of healthcare going here. How about that? Maybe high-speed rail, maybe some public transit. Then the other local taxes that I'm funding, with the other local taxes, I'm funding a military full of the worst ding-dongs you've ever goddamn seen, ready to crack my skull and my fans and all of these wonderful people out there who are saying enough is enough. We got to put an end to this genocide. This makes no sense. The entire system is fundamentally broken. What is this?
And law enforcement all within that area right now, but things are being tossed out as we speak.
Around and find out.
I mean, this is lame as hell, dude. It really is. It's like saying fuck around and find out about like these pigs, like brutalizing a bunch of students for the crime of being like, I am not too fond of our relationship with the state of Israel for its actions is crazy, you know? Think about what you're championing at that point.
At the encampment that's been in place now for several days.
Like, the thing is, they would do this if there was, I don't know, dude, what does Asmongold care about? Like, something that they made Dr. Pepper illegal, you know what I mean? Like, if they made Dr. Pepper illegal, I better not see your ass out there protesting against the oppressive state, you know what I'm saying? Like, because they'll do this to you too. The point is you, Asmongold, are infinitely closer to having a problem with the state, just like these students are, than you are closer to the cops in this circumstance. What goes around comes around, you know? It will inevitably be something that you care about, something that your loved ones care about, something that the people that you care about, and inevitably, when push comes to shove, they'll try to demonstrate. And in the United States of America, you're supposed to be able to do that. I don't think we should be celebrating this at all. I don't think anyone who is I don't know, of sound mind should be looking at this and cheering this on, because this will inevitably come for all of us. Okay? I'm not just saying that as like a threat. It will happen.
After yesterday,
Yep.
Like, this is literally what the Zionist counter-protesters did yesterday, by the way. And the school called the cops on them, and they waited for the random pieces of shit to try and do this. Like, these adults that don't even go to UCLA came in and did this to the encampment. They lobbed fireworks at them. They pepper sprayed them. They bear maced them, right? Cops didn't do shit. Then the school, UCLA, used that commotion. Think about this. UCLA used that commotion, instead of protecting their own students, used that commotion to say, hey, now we got to get the cops in to do the exact same thing, but worse. Now they will come in, beat the shit out of you, and arrest you. It's actually crazy.
Palestinian supporters arrived on
Yeah, they're finding out.
campus,
I'll tell you that.
bringing in more materials, more PPE, and refortified their walls. Those walls, the perimeter of this encampment now being built.
Makes me sad, dude. That's it. I don't know what else to say. All of this makes me so sad. It makes me sad because, like, let's say his grievance on the road blockages is like, even if we were to give some credence to the road blockages, okay, which I don't, you know, it's a protest, and it's a fairly valid form of protest. Like, these guys aren't doing that. These guys weren't doing anything. So what kind of protest is valid in Asmon's eyes? Because he thinks that this is a around and find out situation, but they didn't even around. Like, around moment for the UCLA students was literally what? Saying that they think Israel is in the wrong. That's a whole ass foreign nation, man. What are we doing here? Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I want to be a little bit reductive, and I want to pull us out because a lot of people are just like lasered in on the minutia in these conversations. I want to just like snap us out of it for a second. Take a broader look on what is going on. You got a bunch of students, American students, okay, American citizens at a public institution going, I don't like that our tax dollars are funding a state that is currently killing babies, okay? 15,000 children with our tax dollars. And then beyond that, I don't like that the students, I don't like that my tuition dollars are also going to collaborate with this apartheid regime, right? I don't like that. We should stop that. Divestment is a perfectly valid demand that people make all the time, not just for the Palestinian plight, but in general. Like, we've covered this before. NPR and all of these other mainstream outlets know exactly what divestment is. One, they know it from a historical framework. Divestment against apartheid South Africa was a valid movement. Obviously, a lot of people criticized it at the time as well, but it was successful. And divestment from fossil fuel subsidies, for example, fossil fuel corporations, is a demand made by a lot of liberals, as a matter of fact. So it's perfectly valid to say that, you know, we want to divest from funding Israel. It's about creating any kind of political pressure point you can. So think about that. We did divestment against Russia instantly, right? Instantly. But we can't do it against Israel, right? We keep saying that we can't do it against Israel. These students are peacefully saying, like, we're going to make an encampment. We're going to sit here and we're going to, you know, we're going to engage in civil disobedience, right? In the middle of a public lawn at a public university that they are paying the tuition for, that they're paying taxes for. I think it is the most fundamentally American thing in theory to go out there and protest this, to turn around and look at the cops and cheer on the cops beating the shit out of these kids is crazy, because the around part is basically just saying, I don't like what Israel's doing. Is that a good country that you want to live in? Is that American? Is that what America stands for? Because if you say yes to that, then, I mean, I guess we're on the same page, really. Historically, that is what America as a state has stood for. But when I say that, people say I'm the American. The ultimate truth is just normies don't like disruptive protest, period. Except these guys weren't even disruptive. Except these guys were not even disruptive. Why you're being so nice to him? If it was a chatter saying this, you'd be yelling at them and telling them they're disgusting for this way of thinking. Come on, man. I think you guys understand that there's a difference between an anonymous sock account that a chatter has created to be disruptive in this chat versus a dude who I've known for many, many years who commands a pretty sizable audience of people I will never be able to reach. And I hope that, like, he changes his way of thinking on this matter so that those people that I will never be able to reach will get a different perspective when he changes his mind on this issue. I apologize to those who compare themselves as chatters, random chatters, on their 11th sock account to mother Asmongold, who's putting out YouTube videos every single day with like 500,000 views. If you were putting out YouTube videos every day with 500,000 views and you commanded influence in an audience that is that sizable, and I knew the breadth of your your perspective a little bit better, then probably I would be a little bit different in the way that I deal with it. Also, something that you must consider is that I'm very charitable to chatters who are legitimately curious. I am not charitable, however, to the chatters who are not curious at all and simply utilizing how curious they are, just asking questions, Andes, to be disruptive in the chat. Anyway, but I do suspect that a chatter that came in here that heated probably is just simply interested in creating more drama, so you can clip something that I say that can be easily misconstrued, ship it over to the Asmongold subreddit, and say Hasan hates Asmongold. Let's go after him even further, only causing more divide. A lot of people love doing that kind of thing on Twitch. It's like one of their favorite, one of their favorite things, honestly. Anyway, this is not about Asmongold. This is far beyond Asmongold's attitude towards the protests. So let's get out of this tunnel vision that we have. Same guy who covered protesters in Hong Kong being beaten by police and saw it as a negative thing, even made headlines after commenting on it and getting banned in Classic WoW for naming his gnome Free Hong Kong. No way this guy remembers his own views beyond in the moment. Wait, Asmongold did that? Yes, multiple protesters were shot in the head last night with rubber bullets, by the way, in the around and finding out aspect. It sucks. It's wild because Asmongold's business partner is Muslim. Like, he has people in his immediate circle that definitely have a different attitude than he does. I know that for a fact. So, I hope someone can speak to it. I said Emiru. No, I wasn't talking about Emiru. S-Fan is a Muslim, bro. I wasn't talking about S-Fan, man. Shut the fuck up. I'm talking about Mizkiv. That's right. MashaAllah. Ladies and gentlemen, Mizkiv actually reverted last night. I have it on good authority. He said the Shahada, okay? He said the Shahada. Mizkiv is actually... he has found the light of Allah. He is going to Jannah. He has found the light of Islam. Congratulations to OTK Mizkiv, more like Muzkiv. MashaAllah, my friend, my brother. I welcome you with open arms. Are you sure we can't have Emiru instead? No. Keep crying about it, guys. You're loud enough, you might end up on tomorrow's video. Keep crying about it. If you're loud enough, you might end up on tomorrow's video. Looks like Twitter is mad at me about not supporting protesters' First Amendment rights to build a Rust base on campus and block students from going to class. Brother, they didn't block students from going to class. They set up a peaceful encampment to make perfectly reasonable demands about their tuition dollars being spent on a state currently slaughtering tens of thousands of children. The police response was gross. Okay, then what is this? There's a Zionist agitator counter protester routinely trying to enter the encampment, like he's doing here now, to farm TikTok videos and dupe others into thinking these students were blocking him from going to class. He isn't a student there? No, he is. To dupe people into thinking these students are blocking him from going to class. Look at that. Look at that. This has 12.k upvotes on his subreddit. That's crazy. Here, I'll put this photo in there too. All his OG viewers hate his community now. I doubt it. I don't know why. I don't know why he doesn't recognize that, but I think talking to Asmongold with charitability is good. He's being farmed by bad actors in his Reddit. Yeah, no, I think so too. Yeah, no, he is like, this guy that he brought up in that video literally personally routinely tries to go up to the barriers of the encampment with the specific intent of farming videos like the one that Asmongold just posted. He knows that these students aren't blocking anyone from going to class. He's the one going in there specifically so that he can cut that video to be like, see, they're blocking me from going to class. Even in the video, the students say, we're not blocking you from going to class. We're blocking you from going into the encampment. And if I can't change Asmongold's mind on this issue, at least if I maintain my composure and charitability to Asmongold in this conversation, I can change some of his fans' minds. Okay. Problem is, a lot of the recent videos that he's done is also like brought in some of the worst crowd possible to his community. I think that's what the issue here is for the most part. Do a debate with Asmongold? I mean, I would love to talk to Asmongold. I don't think he would want to do that, and I would respect his wishes. Like, I don't have an issue with having a conversation with Asmongold on this front at all. Also, I'm not like canceling him at all, so I make no mistake. I do think that having a chill and polite conversation in situations like this are infinitely more productive for those in his community that are malleable, and also, more importantly than malleable, more open-minded to a different perspective. But yeah, I don't think he is going to debate me on this issue regardless, which is fine. But like I said, I am not gonna be as aggro, you know. Yeah, no, this kid's movement on campus is absolutely not even remotely restricted for the most part. It's just but of course, if you're not there and if you don't see it, and then videos like this pop off on your subreddit and hit r/all because Reddit is infested with like Hasbara bots in general, then yes. Yeah, he was literally a featured speaker at the ADL hate rally.